We are counting down the 10 United Kingdom bottled water brands you should avoid. These are the names that look safest on supermarket shelves but may hide shocking secrets inside. From popular spring waters tainted by plastic chemicals to major recalls over bacteria and even arsenic, every spot on this list exposes a new risk most shoppers never consider. Which everyday brand is the most surprising offender, and what makes bottled water even riskier than you think? Let us begin with number 10. Highland Spring bottles promise pure Scottish water, drawn from the Ochill Hills and wrapped in an image of untouched nature. But in 2012, lab tests found something unexpected. Trace amounts of phthalates, chemicals used to soften plastics, had leached into the water from PVC cap liners. The detected level, 0.005 milligrams per litre, sat well below the legal limit. But phthalates are banned in toys meant for children's mouths because of their links to hormone disruption. For a brand built on the idea of natural purity, even a trace of a packaging-derived chemical is enough to shake trust. It is a reminder that even the most iconic labels are not immune to risks hiding in the fine print. Hildon sits on white tablecloths in fine dining restaurants, poured with ceremony into stemmed glasses. The glass bottle and British branding suggest a safer, more refined choice than plastic-wrapped alternatives. Yet the same 2012 lab analysis that flagged Highland Spring also found phthalates in Hildon. These chemicals were leaching from the PVC cap liner, not from the glass itself. This invisible migration means that even when you pay extra for the restaurant experience, you can still end up ingesting packaging-derived chemicals. The premium price and glass bottle do not shield you from the reality that contamination can slip in through overlooked details like a cap's plastic seal. Strathmore Water has long been a fixture in British sports arenas, cafes and vending machines, a brand many associate with tradition and trust. But the same 2012 lab analysis that caught Highland Spring and Hildon also found phthalates in Strathmore's bottles. The culprit was not the water source, but chemicals from PVC used in the bottle cap liner. For a brand sold everywhere from stadiums to train stations, this means a huge number of people could be exposed to chemicals derived from packaging without ever suspecting it. Strathmore's case shows that even familiar old-school names can fall short on packaging safety, especially when their bottles are reaching millions every year. Spa's Silverbrook Falls water was recalled in 2013 after routine tests found Pseudomonas aeruginosa inside 500 milliliter bottles sold in southwest England. This bacterium is not a technical fault. It is an opportunistic pathogen, dangerous for anyone with a weakened immune system, and it has no place in bottled water meant for everyday consumption. The recall was not triggered by a minor slip, but by a breakdown in either source protection or bottling hygiene. For shoppers reaching for a quick bottle in a convenience store, the risk was not invisible chemicals, but a living microbe. This episode shows that bottled water can fail at the most basic level, keeping bacteria out. In 2019, supermarket shelves across Ireland and the UK saw hundreds of bottled water batches pulled after routine tests revealed arsenic above legal limits. The source was traced to a mechanical filtration fault at Celtic Pure, a contract bottler supplying own-brand water for Aldi, Lidl, Dunn's, Spar, Londis and Applegreen. The Food Safety Authority of Ireland issued urgent recall notices, publishing affected batch codes and advising anyone who felt unwell to contact their general practitioner. Arsenic is a naturally occurring element, but long-term exposure is linked to skin lesions, heart disease, and increased cancer risk. The scale of the recall exposed a hidden risk. When major retailers rely on a single bottler, a single equipment failure can send unsafe water out under many familiar labels. For shoppers, it is a stark reminder that a trusted supermarket logo is no guarantee of what is actually inside the bottle. Aquafina sits on shelves everywhere, petrol stations, fast food counters, supermarket fridges, sold as the safe, purified choice. But when independent labs put these bottles under the microscope, they found something you cannot see or taste: hundreds of plastic particles floating in every litre. Researchers traced these fragments back to the bottle itself, the cap, and even the high-speed bottling lines where friction shaves off slivers of peat and polyethylene. No recall, no warning, just routine, invisible plastic in the water millions drink every day. The health impact of swallowing these microplastics is still under debate, but the fact remains: you pay extra for purity and end up drinking the bottle along with the water. Dasani arrived in the UK with a promise of high-tech purity, but the reality unraveled almost overnight. In 2004, routine tests detected bromate, a chemical byproduct of the purification process, at levels between 10 and 22 parts per billion. The UK legal limit is 10 parts per billion. Bromate is classified as a possible human carcinogen, and the discovery forced Dasani to recall about 500,000 bottles. Within weeks, the entire brand was pulled from UK shelves. The incident exposed a risk that high-profile branding and advanced processing cannot hide. When a purification step goes wrong, the result is not just a technical error, it is a chemical exceeding legal safety limits and a total market withdrawal. Evian, San Pellegrino and Nestlé Pure Life are sold as the gold standard of bottled water, evoking the French Alps, Italian springs and Swiss mountain heritage. But when scientists applied the latest particle detection tools, the results shook the idea of purity. Recent studies using Raman and SRS microscopy found that bottles from these major brands contain not just hundreds, but up to hundreds of thousands of plastic particles per litre. Most of those particles are nanoplastics, far smaller than anything older tests could catch. These tiny fragments, invisible to the naked eye, come mainly from the bottle and the cap. No matter how refined the branding or how high the price, every tested sample revealed a plastic load you cannot see or taste. Regulations have not caught up, and there are no legal limits for nanoplastics in bottled water. The science is clear. Even the most iconic European labels carry a hidden cargo of plastic, challenging the idea that premium means pure. Glasso Smart Water lines supermarket shelves with promises of next-level purity, vapor distilled, electrolyte enhanced, and bottled under Coca-Cola's global reach. The branding leans hard on science and wellness, but the reality inside the bottle is less clear-cut. Independent lab tests have repeatedly shown that microplastics are a routine feature in nearly every PET bottled water. Smart Water's production method, filling into plastic and capping at high speed, offers no special protection against particle release. Researchers have traced most detected fragments back to the bottle itself, the cap, or the friction of the bottling process, with particles of PET and polyethylene showing up even after advanced filtration steps. While Smart Water was not singled out in the biggest global studies, the evidence from similar brands is overwhelming. No matter how advanced the purification claim, the final product is still at risk of plastic contamination. The gap between high-tech marketing and what ends up in the bottle leaves shoppers with more questions than answers. UK tap water is held to some of the strictest standards in the world, monitored around the clock by the Drinking Water Inspectorate. Every drop is checked for bacteria, metals and chemicals before it reaches your tap, with real-time oversight and immediate alerts if anything drifts out of line. Bottled water, on the other hand, is produced in batches, sometimes sitting for weeks or months in warm warehouses or delivery lorries before it ever hits the shelf. Those long, hot journeys can speed up the release of plasticizers and microplastics from the bottle, especially when temperatures climb above 30 degrees Celsius. Unlike tap water, bottled water is not continuously monitored once it leaves the plant. That means a single production glitch or an unnoticed storage problem can slip by, only coming to light after bottles are already in homes, offices, and schools. Several studies have found that bottled water is a major source of daily microplastic intake. While UK tap water sometimes contains a few plastic particles, bottled water consistently contains far more, especially the smallest fragments which are invisible and slip past most filters. The difference is not just academic. Switching from bottled water to filtered tap water can reduce your plastic exposure by up to 90%, according to leading water quality audits. For anyone looking to cut down on plastic in their diet, that is a practical, immediate win. The real brand to avoid is not a single label. It is the everyday habit of reaching for another random plastic bottle, assuming it is safer or cleaner than what already flows from the tap. Across all 10 brands, one pattern is clear. Packaging and process, not source, determine what ends up in your bottle. Premium labels and high prices can't guarantee purity. In the UK, bottled water often adds more risk than reassurance. Sometimes the safest choice is simply turning on the tap.